Hello everyone. Today we are going to begin with the second part of the chapter electoral politics. As we had learned till lecture 1 that the last topic that we covered was the types of elections that are held in our country, wherein we learned about three types of elections, that is general elections, midterm elections and then by-elections. Then I told you that our country's election procedure is divided into 5 major steps, out of which we had covered the first step. The first step was related to making of the constituencies, or you can call them area-wise representation, wherein a candidate is allotted a particular area from which he can contest that election, right? Where we also studied about the reservation in the constituencies, which was given under the heading reserved constituencies. If you recall a bit, you had reservation on the center level, the state level as well as the local level, but the reservation differ from category to category. Like at the center level, you will have reservation for scheduled caste and scheduled tribes candidates, and we had also discussed about the number of seats which are reserved, that is 84 seats and 47 seats respectively. Then we moved on to the state level. Now, since we will be concerning only to one single state, Rajasthan, I told you that it is divided into 25 constituencies for the purpose of Lok Sabha elections, wherein you have 4 reservation of seats for the scheduled caste and 3 for the scheduled tribes candidates. However, a peculiar feature about both of these is that none of the seats are reserved at the center or state level for either the candidates who belong to other backward classes and female candidates. But we are the deepest and the major functioning democracies in the world. So how do we locate this idea of democracy? Of course, we have reservation for female candidates and women at the rural level, that is Panchayati Raj institutions, wherein 1/3 seats are reserved. I also told you that although the reservation bill for female has been pending for approximately a decade or so, but it has not yet been given any kind of approval. So this was the first step which was commenced for the election. We will today start with the second step, which is also a very important step for the commencement of elections, right? So the second step, which deals with the electoral politics, is preparing of the voters list. You can also call this list alternatively as electoral roll. Now what does this mean? This means all the eligible candidates, or if you get confused with the word, you can write citizens who can vote. Their names are added in this list. Okay. Now, who are the ones who can be called as eligible candidates? An important criteria that we follow through universal adult franchise. This you call it UAF, wherein we just consider the age criteria that you had attained the age of 18 years. We are believing in this ideology of universal adult franchise because of the fact that we ignore all the other differences which exist between individuals, be it related to caste, gender, class, religion, etc. We do not consider any of these differences as the basis of universal adult franchise. Here, only the base of age criteria is taken into consideration. I had given you the example earlier that suppose you have a very rich person, consider Ambani, right? And on the other hand, you have someone who is begging on the street. Thus, the person can be denied right to vote? Of course not. Why? Because of this criteria of universal adult franchise, wherein we are looking into only the age criteria as the consideration. Now, how is this list prepared? This list is prepared in a yearly time basis, like the revision of this list takes place after every 5 years, wherein new persons who are gaining eligibility are added, the name of new members, and those who have either died or either have moved out of that place or changed their location are the ones whose names are deleted. Now this system is followed after a time period of 5 years, and you are issued a card under which your basic information is revealed in that card, wherein your name, your father's name, your gender, your date of birth, and one important criteria, your permanent address is mentioned in that card. And a photo of yours is printed towards the right hand side, and this card has a unique ID number which is unique for each and every particular individual, right? This card is known as Election Photo Identity Card, EPIC is the name which is given to that particular card. Election Photo Identity Card, EPIC, is issued to the eligible voters. It is revised in every 5 years, where the editing takes place. Importantly, there is a provision, although we believe in this ideology, but there is an exception that who can be denied this voting card. There are 2 exceptions to it. इसके 2 exceptions है. सबसे पहला exception रहेगा people with unsound mind can be denied the right to vote, right? And the second exception, in case of any serious ongoing criminal case or record found, in that case you can be denied right to vote. Otherwise, except these exceptions, no person can be denied this right to vote. So this is the second criteria or the second step while we are commencing towards the date of elections. Moving on to the third criteria. The third criteria is nomination of candidates. जब कैंडिडेट्स को नॉमिनेट करने की बारी आती है, so not each and every person is given a chance to contest elections. Here we are talking about to contest elections. The criteria to be fulfilled by the candidate. कुछ क्राइटेरिया होते हैं जो कैंडिडेट्स को फुलफिल करने होते हैं फॉर गेटिंग अप्रूवल टू कॉन्टेस्ट इन इलेक्शन. सबसे पहला क्राइटेरिया होता है सिटीजनशिप का क्राइटेरिया, दैट यू शुड बी फर्स्ट अ सिटीजन ऑफ इंडिया. वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. आपके पास भारत की नागरिकता होनी चाहिए, सिटीजनशिप होनी चाहिए, तब जाकर आपको नॉमिनेट किया जाएगा. सेकेंड क्राइटेरिया, एक एज डिफरेंस का इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन इसमें से बन सकता है कि इसकी एज लिमिट और इसकी एज लिमिट में क्या डिफरेंस है. इसकी मिनिमम एज है 25 इयर्स. ठीक. थर्ड क्राइटेरिया, you are supposed to submit an declaration stating your assets and liabilities. जो भी कोई कॉन्टेस्ट करते हैं उनको एक डेक्लरेशन एक स्टैम्प पेपर पर सबमिट करनी पड़ती है स्टेटिंग दैट व्हाट ऑल आर योर एसेट्स एंड योर लायबिलिटीज. व्हाट डज दिस वर्ड असेट मीन्स. यहाँ पर असेट का मतलब है कि हमारे पास जितनी प्रॉपर्टी हम ओन करते हैं या व्हाटसोएवर इज कम्स अंडर आवर ओनरशिप, यू हैव टू डिक्लेयर दैट. एंड on the other hand, liabilities refers to the number of people who are dependent upon your income will be considered as your liabilities. For example, that you have children who are not presently employed anywhere or working anywhere. They are dependent upon your income, so they will be considered as your liability. Or the people, the parents who are elderly, who belongs to the age group of senior citizens, those people can be considered as a liability who do not have income of their own. तो ऐसे लोग जो डिपेंडेंट हैं वो लाइबिलिटी का पार्ट होंगे. और ऐसी चीजें जो आपकी ओनरशिप में हो, आपकी कितनी जमीन है, आपकी कितनी प्रॉपर्टी है, हाउ मेनी हाउसेस यू ओन एट डिफरेंट प्लेसेस, हाउ मच लैंड यू ओन, ऑल इज कंसिडर्ड एज एन असेट. राइट. द फोर्थ क्राइटेरिया that you need to look into consideration for becoming a candidate is that you also have to submit an declaration regarding educational qualification. अब आपकी एजुकेशनल क्वालिफिकेशन क्या है, उस क्वालिफिकेशन का डिक्लेरेशन भी आपको सबमिट करना पड़ता है. अब क्यों करना पड़ता है? हमारे यहाँ पर नेता बनने के लिए, मिनिस्टर बनने के लिए, किसी पॉलिटिकल पार्टी से एफिलिएशन रखने के लिए मिनिमम एजुकेशनल क्वालिफिकेशन कुछ भी नहीं है, कोई क्राइटेरिया नहीं है. इवन इफ यू आर जस्ट अ सिंपली 10th पास स्टूडेंट, you can also apply to become a party candidate. बस आपका एज क्राइटेरिया फुलफिल होना चाहिए. ठीक है. अब ऐसे कुछ केसेस या ऐसे कुछ इंसिडेंट्स हुए जिनमें लीडर्स के बारे में पता लगाया गया कि फेक मार्कशीट्स के थ्रू या फेक क्वालिफिकेशंस के थ्रू they had stated that they are very well educated, but when investigation was being carried out, तब पता लगा कि they were not even graduate enough and they were submitting degrees of being a postgraduate. Now this is a very fake mark sheets. These are fake mark sheets which you submit. So there is no need for that fake submission. You can simply state whatever your educational qualifications may be. There is no harm in it, right? You also have to submit a declaration regarding any ongoing pending criminal cases against you. If in case there is an ongoing case which has been going on in the court and there has yet not been any judgment given on that case, you have to mention that a case is ongoing and the judgment has yet not been given. Even if the police had investigated any time due to any of the criminal records found against you, you also have to submit about that. You have to give a declaration of that even. These are some of the important 5 criteria that a candidate needs to look into consideration. The last criteria, submit an declaration of ongoing pending criminal cases or even if judgment has been given, right? After this, you also have to submit a check of security deposit which is made in the name of the party, right? So you are also supposed to submit a check, and after all these criteria are fulfilled, you are given a ticket by the party to contest elections. So this is the third criteria which you fulfill. After this, the fourth criteria is, after you are nominated, you start with election campaigning. Now what is a campaign? कैंपेन का मतलब होता है कि जब हम लोगों को एक तरीके से a meeting ground wherein you can start convincing people about what are your aims, your policies in the next coming 5 years and how you are going to approach them. So people or nominated candidates start making a direct contact with the voters so as to attain maximum number of votes. So a campaigning requires an agenda plus some of the catchy slogans which you are going to use during this procedure and henceforth will be used during the policy execution after once you are elected as a leader, right? So campaigning requires catchy slogans, the agendas and policies which are put forward in front of voters to basically choose from. हम यहाँ पर कुछ पर्टिकुलर ऐसे स्लोगन्स की बात करेंगे जो डिफरेंट पार्टीज ने डिफरेंट इलेक्शंस में यूज करे थे, which became one of the important policy measures which were henceforth looked into consideration. जैसे सबसे पहला स्लोगन हम बात करेंगे कांग्रेस पार्टी ने यूज किया था, इन लोकसभा इलेक्शंस of 1971. The campaigning slogan was remove poverty और गरीबी हटाओ. Another slogan which was used by party, which was Janata Dal, again used in Lok Sabha in 1977. The slogan was Save Democracy. ठीक है. Another slogan which was used by the party was the third one was used by the party Left Front. This was used in assembly elections of West Bengal, and the slogan was land to the tiller. Chautha slogan another regional party has used, that is Telugu Desam पार्टी. ये भी असेंबली इलेक्शंस के लिए यूज हुआ था इन आंध्र प्रदेश. And the slogan says protect the self-respect of the Telugus. हमने यहाँ पर 4 इलेक्शन कैंपेनिंग के टाइम पर स्लोगन्स की बात करी है. सबसे पहला स्लोगन कांग्रेस पार्टी ने लोकसभा के इलेक्शंस के टाइम पर जो मुद्दा उठाया था, जो कैंपेनिंग का बेसिक पर्पस एजेंडा था, दैट वाज ऑफ रिमूवल ऑफ पॉवर्टी सिंस इट हैज बीन वाइड स्प्रेड फ्रॉम अ वेरी लॉन्गर टाइम ड्यू टू द ग्रोइंग पॉपुलेशन. So their main purpose for that election was that if they come to power, provided they are going to work on this agenda that poverty has to be removed. The second one was used by Janata Dal party again in Lok Sabha election. Year is 1977, and in this they have focused on saving of democracy due to the malpractices which were used by the people to win elections. The other two, third and fourth, that we had discussed is based on regional parties. The Left Front, which is prevalent in West Bengal, used the slogan of transferring land to the tiller. If you can associate, this is an important ideology which was promoted by, because there you will see the prevalence of Marxism. वेस्ट बंगाल के अंदर हम मार्क्सिज्म की प्रेवलेंस बहुत ज़्यादा देख सकते हैं, विच वर्क्स ऑन द सोशलिस्ट आइडिया. सो द प्रोजेक्ट और द मिशन ऑन विच द पार्टीज वर्कड वाज दैट लैंड शुड बी डिक्लेयर्ड एज अ सोशल प्रॉपर्टी एंड इट शुड बी ट्रांसफर्ड टू द टेलर. The fourth one was Telugu Desam party. It is again a regional party in Andhra Pradesh, and it worked towards protecting the self-respect of the Telugus, the inhabitants of the people, the inhabitants of Andhra Pradesh, right? The Telugus. Now, while there is campaigning going on, there are certain don'ts which are to be followed by these candidates, which comes under Model Code of Conduct. इनको हम मॉडल कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट बोलते हैं कि ड्यूरिंग द प्रोसेस ऑफ कैंपेनिंग आपको कुछ चीजें हैं कैंडिडेट्स को जो नहीं करनी है, विच कम्स अंडर डोंट्स. ठीक है, हम क्या क्या चीजों के ऊपर ध्यान देंगे? सबसे पहली, यू कैन नॉट ब्राइब और थ्रेटन anyone. The first criteria is that you cannot bribe or threaten anyone. The second, use government resources for campaigning. The third one, appeal to the voters in the name of religion. Next, use any place of worship for campaigning. Next is cannot spend more than 25 lakhs in Lok Sabha and 10 lakhs in State Assembly. And the last criteria is once the election date is announced, the ministers cannot lay foundation stone of any new project or any policy decision. मॉडल कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट के अंदर ये 6 क्राइटेरिया आते हैं विच आर कंसिडर्ड एज डोंट्स फॉर द नॉमिनेटेड कैंडिडेट्स. सबसे पहला है, आप किसी को ब्राइब या फिर किसी को धमकी नहीं दे सकते. रिश्वत देना या धमकी देना अलाउड नहीं है. सेकंड, आप सरकारी रिसोर्सेज को यूज़ नहीं कर सकते अपनी कैंपेनिंग के लिए, जैसे कि हमने एयरक्राफ्ट यूज़ करना स्टार्ट कर दिया, हमने सरकारी गाड़ियों का यूज़ करना स्टार्ट कर दिया. दैट इज़ नॉट अलाउड. आप किसी से रिलीजन के नाम पर वोट्स नहीं मांग सकते. दैट इज इमोरल इफ यू डू सो एंड इट कम्स अंडर ऑब्लिगेशन ऑफ मॉडल कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट. द फोर्थ वन इज you cannot use any place of worship like temples, churches, mosque, gurudwara or any other religious place for the purpose of campaigning. It is not allowed, right? You cannot, this is an important point, आपको स्पेंड करने के लिए, कैंपेनिंग करने के लिए आपको कुछ फंड प्रोवाइड करवाया जाता है एंड ईच एंड एवरी पार्टी गेट्स दैट फंड. If you are participating in a Lok Sabha election, you are provided the fund of 25 lakhs, and if participating in an assembly elections, you are provided with 10 lakh rupees, right? The last one, once these dates are announced, none of the ministers who are presently acting and are in power cannot lay foundation or start any of the new project or any of the policy decision cannot be announced at that time. Hence, whatsoever is ongoing, only that has to be completed within the stipulated time period. Otherwise, it has to be left as it is. There has to be no functioning going against the model code of conduct. The last step is, the fifth step is regarding polling and counting of votes. अब जब ये वोट्स की पोलिंग हो रही होती है और जब काउंटिंग हो रही होती है, दीज आर इवेंट्स ऑफ 2 different days, नॉट कमेंस्ड ऑन अ सिंगल डे. दोनों इवेंट्स अलग अलग दिन पर कमेंस किए जाते हैं. इसको डिसाइड करने के लिए भारत की एक स्टैट्यूटरी इंडिपेंडेंट बॉडी है, इलेक्शन कमीशन ऑफ इंडिया ECI, who is responsible for the polling and counting of votes, right? On which day polling is to be done and on which day counting is to be done is totally comes under the jurisdiction of ECI. The ECI is guided and controlled by the Chief Election Commissioner of India. The Chief Election Present Commissioner of India is Mr. Sunil Arora, who has taken over the office in the present month of January and who had been succeeded by the earlier Chief Election Commissioner was Mr. Om Prakash Rawat, right? किस दिन पोलिंग होनी है और किस दिन काउंटिंग होनी है, ये डिसीजन ECI का रहता है, चीफ इलेक्शन कमिश्नर का रहता है. जब स्टेट के इलेक्शंस होते हैं तो स्टेट का इलेक्शन कमिश्नर डिफरेंट रहेगा, पर जब लोकसभा के इलेक्शंस होंगे, सेंटर के इलेक्शंस होते हैं, तो वो एक ही डे पर कमेंस होंगे एंड दैट पर्टिकुलर डे मीन्स सम स्टेट्स विल हैव इलेक्शंस ऑन one day, some states will have elections on other day, so those division is made by the ECI. ठीक, जब पोलिंग हो रही होती है तो अर्लियर ये पोलिंग होती थी बैलेट पेपर से. जो बैलेट पेपर एक शीट है, a sheet in which names of contesting candidates along with party symbols is printed. अब इस सिस्टम को रिप्लेस कर दिया गया है विद EVM, दैट इज इलेक्ट्रॉनिक वोटिंग मशीन. अब जब ये EVM से वोटिंग होती है, सो ऑन दैट डे when there is voting going on in various constituencies of a state, by the end of the day when the procedure is completed, all the EVMs are sealed and they are sent to office of some of the government dignitary or executive. Those machines are kept sealed till the date is announced that when you have to open them and when you have to start counting them. When the counting starts, this process or this procedure can be forecasted or highlighted by the media, wherein it can be published in television channels, the newspapers, radio, or any kind of mass media can be used over there. By the end of the day, when the voting is completed and the counting is done, on that day the election result is announced in the form of that which party is forming the government and who is getting the maximum number of seats, right? In the next lecture, we end our lecture today over here on the 5 steps that we had discussed. In the next lecture, we will begin with the democratic procedure, that what makes an election democratic in India. Thank you so much.